my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I feel like, the little kid in Orphan Annie. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Listen, years ago, let me just tell you who I am. I'm Tommy D, your boy, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from the top of my house, 2 flights up from the kitchen where I get my coffee and my water, just below the roof. I'm in the attic, man. I'm in the attic. 80 some odd episodes of a thing that was only an idea. And I will tell you, the man who is with me today on this program is somebody who, whether he knows it or not, was influential in philanthropy and focus even becoming a thing. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about my guest. I'm talking about Ken Serrini, my friend, one of the newest Long Island Business News Hall of Fame inductees. I saw it with my own eyes last night. Good morning, Ken. What's up?
Good morning, Tommy.
How are
Thanks
you?
a lot. And if I had any influence on philanthropy and focus, thank you. But honestly, you're the one who's the sector connector. So it's all about you.
Well, I appreciate that. But, and it's all about me, maybe in the sense that it's all about me telling the stories for these nonprofit organizations, helping them tell their stories and helping them really get their mission out there more, and I learned a lot of that from watching you, to be honest. Initially, Ken, it was from afar. I remember the first time I actually ever saw Ken Serrini. He had come into my office. I was working for a company called Trinet at the time. And a guy who actually was really, I think, the first person to introduce us was our friend Brendan Levy, who I was on the phone with till about 11 o'clock last night. And Brendan had brought you to the office when we were working at Trinet. I guess kind of, you knew Trinet. Trinet was making a big splash back those days, in the 14, 15, 16, I guess, maybe 13, 14, 15, 16, like in here on Long Island. Trinet in the PEO space, and my firm, Vanguard Benefits, being in the employee benefits space. That's one of the first times I had really heard about or became aware of this Ken Serrini guy. And I was like, as my partners at Vanguard and I started really talking about what we wanted to do and grow into the nonprofit sector, it became obvious to connect with you. And I say this in jokes and stuff like that, but I said, I'm gonna follow this guy and make this guy my friend. And because I saw something that you were doing, Ken, and it is the Imagine Awards, which is what we're going to talk about today. But it is, aside from the Imagine Awards, it's honestly, it's your leadership and character that you drive to the sector. I know how important you feel about nonprofits, and we had a moment to kind of talk about some of and we won't go into today, but just frustrations last night quickly. And it's really a matter for me of seeing other people do really special things, and then taking an idea that is what Philanthropy and Focus came from. So I'll tell you this, there's a combination of watching what you've done with the Imagine Awards and a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, big time media guy, who says, if you're passionate about something, go out and build some content around it. If you want to get the word out on something, go out and do something. And that is Philanthropy and Focus. And I remember walking out of the Imagine Awards maybe 4 years ago. And I said, I'm going to start this radio show. It's going to be called Philanthropy and Focus. And it still took 2 years to actually do the thing. But I had the idea, right? Which I'm sure you can relate to, and we'll talk about.
10 years from the time that the Imagine Awards was a concept in my head before the first Imagine Awards ever took place.
10 years. So then, you know what? I found a way to condense it down, although I will say having an hour-long show compared to what really turns into a 6-month plus long event, from application phase to everything. I mean, having sat on the committee for Long Island now for the last 4 or 5 years, maybe 5 years, in New York City for the last couple, I know what goes into it from more than somebody who's not as involved, but certainly I don't know how much of your headspace it takes when you're managing director of an accounting practice, 8 partners, I guess 70 some odd associates. We heard a little bit about that last night. So, the Imagine Awards, it's not just what you do. And I know you have, obviously, Kelly.
It's the best part of what I do.
I'm sure it is. Dude, Ken, honestly, this is the best part of what I do. This is what I love. I want to do this.
There's my real job and there's my passion. Yep.
100%. And you know what, though? I think it's fortunate people like you and I that can somewhat align those things. And I think you're doing a pretty good job of doing that, taking your passion and having that be a compliment to your business and vice versa. I will say this, I've been saying this for a number of years, like I sort of forget where my philanthropy, if you will, ends and my business starts, because it's all just kind of mushed together in a way.
And that's honestly, that's the right way to approach it. I mean, you really want to, add purpose to your mission in essence. And this is really what helps to add that purpose behind what it is we do. Right. It's the ability to give back. It's the ability to make a difference. It's the ability to change lives. It's the ability to have an impact on your community. These are all the things, I don't know, that's what gets me up in the morning.
Yeah.
If it was debits and credits, sorry, debits and credits don't get me,
Yeah.
jazzed up. It's all the other parts. It's the difference that you make that actually is really what, I don't even use an alarm clock anymore. I don't need it because I'm able to get up in the morning because I'm excited about what I do on, this part of things.
I started saying this phrase, those of you who are listening are not going to see the mug, but it says, no big deal, just changing the world. I started saying this recently, that last couple, 6 months, maybe 4 or 5 months, something like that. And, a friend of mine, Dara Rosenbaum, sent me this mug because we shoot videos together on Fridays, a group of us called Video Social. So she put the Tommy D thing, the Philanthropy and Focus. And so no big deal, just changing the world. And I say it kind of trying to be cute about it. But the point of it is we all have that capacity and opportunity in front of us to literally change someone's day, a bunch of people's day, and then the lives of many, many people. And I know that's where you sort of live. So we're going to be
before I even talk about that, I mean, you mentioned last night, that we were at together, the Long Island Business News Hall of Fame, and just look at the 14 people that were there, and just look at some of their stories, look at where they came from, look at the impact they've had in terms of, people, places, things. It's incredible, and you don't have to come from huge background. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to have any of these things. You can make a difference every day, even if you make a difference in one person.
100%. And thank you for saying that. And I talk a lot about this, the ripple effect, Ken, because I know this, we're all just human beings, and sometimes life can be challenging. And I try to take this quote seriously from Robin Williams. Everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always. And I just take, we're just other people trying to get through some things, and we all need support. Second ever show of this Philanthropy and Focus with my friend Dr. Larry Grubler, who you met with me years ago for transitional services for New York, TSI NY, mental health agency. They serve over 4,000 to 5,000 people in the boroughs each year with mental health challenges. And Larry said to me on that show, and I'll never forget, he goes, you know what, Tommy D? Everybody needs some support sometimes, and everybody because I'm of this mindset that they say 1 in 5 people will have some sort of mental health issue. When I go by the people in my life, I think that number is significantly higher.
I was going to say, they say 1 in 5 people have some sort of mental health issue, and 4 to 5 people are lying.
Yeah, that's what I think. I say the 6 people I know most intimately in my life, we're 6 for 6. I'm sure of that. So that's that is somehow skewing the numbers for sure. I say all that just to say, we have to be there for each other. We have to make an impact for each other. And what is the ripple effect of being there, being supportive? And certainly what is the ripple effect of an organization like the Imagine Awards that does that and has highlights? I'm going to read some notes that I have, because this is what, shout out to Kelly and Serrini for sending this stuff over to me. Ken, I don't want to say you didn't fill this out, but I know you didn't fill this out. So the Imagine Awards is an award program that is designed for 3 reasons. I want to hit these, and we're going to talk about it throughout the morning, but to shine a spotlight on those nonprofits that are truly unique, those with strong leadership, who are innovative in their actions and operations, who are impactful on both a micro and macro perspective, and who are significantly advancing programs and the sector on a regular basis. It goes on a bit, but the second thing is to foster relationships, having the ability for nonprofit leadership to come together. It's not a joke it is a joke that I call myself the nonprofit sector connector, but it's not a joke when people start sending emails and introducing me that way. And that's something that I've always been a connector, Ken, and we're all stronger and we're all better through collaboration. So again, I'm going to say my connection to you and guys like David Goldstein and others who are our friends in nonprofit certainly just goes to me, well, all right, big mouth Tommy D, let's make this more about this particular sector. The third point is of the Imagine Awards is to provide education.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit cliche, but we don't know what we don't know. Nonprofit leaders don't know it. I don't know what I don't know. There's blind spots. There's pieces we don't see. So I have right here, you're not going to see it because the attic, everybody doesn't need to see the whole attic, but I'll just I'm gonna take it off wall. This says here, can you imagine a world without nonprofits? And that's something you told me, and I stuck it on the wall there. Can you imagine a world without nonprofits? Ken, the only way I could imagine a world without nonprofits is if we solved all the problems and somehow, somewhere.
And that's not going to
Right.
happen because every time we, it's like the dam with the little holes. You stick a finger in one, it's going to come out somewhere else. So every time you solve one thing, you're creating other problems through advancement, technology, change. I mean, a lot of the mental health issues that are out there today is because the world is moving so much faster. We're in a situation where there's a lot of social anxiety and everything else because we don't know how to socialize effectively. So every time we create new advancements, we also create new problems that need to be overcome. So you're never going to get to a place where the world is perfect. And I don't know that I really want to live in a world that's perfect, but anyway, you're never going to get there. So there's always going to be a need for help. There's always going to be a need for people to work together. There's always going to be a need for compassion, for all of those things.
Yeah. So I want to. There's a lot of questions I want to ask you today that I think.
So go ahead, shoot.
Yeah. So the ones that there's a lot I'm going to ask you that specifically are, Ken, tell me this about nonprofits. How can they do this better? How can they do that better? And then I have some questions that I'm just going to want to, like, things that kind of make me cranky, and maybe we can find some ideas around that. And before we do that, though, let's go.
It's too much coffee.
Now, it might be that. I mean, it's funny, our friend Allison was with us at your event last night, and she kind of looked over at the table at me and she goes, it's like 9:15 last night or 8:58, whatever, late. And she looked at me, she goes, did you just have a second cup of coffee? And the funny part is I had like two after that. So
yeah, your response was, yeah, I'm going to have a third.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I mean, what's the big deal? And I will tell you, I had a meeting with like an impromptu meeting on the phone. I think I woke Brendan Levy up when I called him last night, but we were on the phone until about 11 o'clock until I go, Brendan, I'm literally falling asleep. Like, I got to go. But so I can still fall asleep on 4 cups of coffee at 9 o'clock at night is the point. But what makes me cranky, we'll get into, it's really, here's what I want to do first, though. You said this idea, you had it, and then it didn't come to fruition or implementation for 10 years. Can we talk a little bit about where the idea came from, and then how that related to, again, you're running an accounting practice, so give us like the 30-second version on what you do professionally and how that all sort of happened.
So from a professional perspective, as you said, we're a full service accounting firm, 8 partners, 70 professionals. We do everything, anything our clients need. We add value to every relationship. That's kind of how we built. And we're very big on education and on all of those things. So we're kind of unique. And when we focus on our clients, we don't just look at things from a fiscal perspective. We take a very holistic approach to working with our clients. And we get very immersed in the industries that we work in, because how can I be a resource to you if I don't know at least as much as you do about your industry? So when I was trying to decide where I wanted to go, when I worked 7 years with Ernst & Young, and I left Ernst & Young, and I was starting my own practice. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And it kept coming back to, if I'm going to be doing this, and I'm going to be doing this for the next 30, 40, 50 years, whatever it happens to be, I want to do something in a place where I enjoy what I'm doing, in a place where I enjoy doing it with the people I'm doing it with, and in a place where, from an industry perspective, I could truly, feel good about the industry that I was working with. And everything just kept coming back to the nonprofit sector, that the nonprofit sector is where I needed to be. The nonprofit sector is, was important to me. So I kind of jumped, 2 feet into the nonprofit sector, and I said, this is where I want to be. This is the people I want to serve. These are the people, these are my peeps. These are the people I resonate with.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And it's funny, like I'll give kind of a plug. It was the year. So when I bought equity in our agency, Vanguard Insurance Agency, now rebranded as Vanguard Benefits, it was that week. I say that weird week, that week between Christmas and New Year's, where it's like, do I go back to work? Is there any reason to show up anywhere? Is like anybody doing anything that whole week? So Vinny Blasi, Ed Probst, and I sat down, and I give Vinny credit, because he was saying he was really the one years ago who said nonprofits was where we should focus as an agency. And it was a lot of for what you're talking about. And to be honest, we didn't really even know what that meant to go focus on the nonprofit sector. So personally, what I did, I joined a handful of boards and, started to really network. And like I say, had eyes on you and what you were doing and try to learn. But it's funny. I say this all the time, man. You get to make a decision, especially as professionals, when you're selling a service or like a product, and it is something that can go accounting or employee benefits, can go into any, everybody needs accounting, everybody needs employee benefits, right? You can make a decision. Both you and I could have said, we really want to work with hedge funds, and we could have spent a life doing that. Or we said this, and now we're the circles, and you say, my peeps, exactly. The circles we keep, the contacts that we're hanging with are, no.
But again, think of the people that you work with in this world. Think of the people. These are people who are trying to change lives. I mean, what better people to work with? What better people to make a difference with? As opposed to somebody. I worked in publicly traded companies, and I helped the company be more profitable. People get bigger dividends. Here in the nonprofit world, if we work together to develop a better model and more resources and everything else, more people eat, more people have homes, more dogs and cats live, 100%. Better arts and better culture, and kids learn and get books and everything else. It's just a much better environment.
You win. I gotta be honest. The little hairs, there's a lot of hairs. If you're watching, I got a lot of hair, but the little ones on the back of my neck are standing up when you said that, because we made a decision, and this is it. I will be in this sector one way. A buddy of mine jokes with me, tells me I'm going to be the executive director of some organization. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but I joke with him because I say, that's not me, man. I just want to be a fabric of this. I want to be part of it. I just want to be in it. I want to hang out with, Amy and Eileen from the Book Fairies, and Renee Flagler, Girls Inc. of Long Island. Like you say, these are our people. These are our people. Like, they're making an impact to changing the world. We got to take a quick break, because that's how this show works. Ken, when we come back, let's go back into that question around, you saw it. I know there's a story too that, and it's,
I'll get into it.
It's funny how last night was an awards event, because I think that's really, it was those things that you saw that was kind of sparked that. Ken Serrini is here, managing partner of Serrini Associates, creator visionary behind the Long Island Imagine Awards, New York City Imagine Awards, and I'm happy to say, my friend. We'll be right back. Break time.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business, or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Cut through all the static and join Tommy in his attic. Brendan Levy,
I keep saying I want mine.
You want your own attic?
No, I want my own theme song.
We'll get you one. Whatever you want. You do shows. You do like these.
I'll
Yeah,
have my own
you
theme song.
interviewed Ed Probst and I on a show with no theme song. So here's the deal. That is like a, look, we joked about music last night when we were together. Some of the songs I'm just going to put it out there. When you go up and you get an award, they play a song, right? So my song I always say this, when I get an award, if they play a song and they say, Tommy, what can we play for you? It would be the song from the Karate Kid. You're the best around. Cha 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 cha. They don't say cha cha cha, but I don't know the words. But that's what I do, and I don't know the words. But last night, Ken, it was "Livin' La Vida Loca" by Ricky Martin. Did you pick that?
No, that would not have been my choice. My taste in music is somewhere on the far side of normal.
Yeah. Well, Ricky Martin, that's pretty mainstream. So I was dying. It couldn't have been a better song, I think, for them to pick for you last night. But we will get you a theme song. My theme song, I proclaim, is the only theme song in the history of theme songs that references somebody's attic. I think that's regarding a radio show of mine. It's the only song of mine that's like that. I'm silly. So, because isn't there Toys in the Attic is a song, but this is Tommy is in the Attic. That's a whole nother thing. So, but we'll get you a theme song. That song was written by Brendan Levy and I. Lyrics by Tommy and Brendan. Music by Brendan. Brendan sings it and does the whole thing. But I will tell you, it's become so funny that my youngest child, he walks around singing, Tommy's in the attic. It's like, and it's not, he like remixes it. It's not even the right lyrics, but he just like gives me a hard time and we have fun with it. We will get you a theme song. That's my point. We will work it out. Kelly and Serrini, if you're listening, we need a call. We have 7 calls a week, but we need another call to talk about a theme song. All right, Ken, talk about stories. Why? What did you see in the market? What did you see that was lacking where you said, I need to put on a big event to shine a light, to help people network and help people get educated in the nonprofit and for the nonprofit sector?
Well, again, this started about 10 years before the Imagine Awards actually came to fruition. There are award programs for absolutely everything. Everybody had award programs. There were awards for top financial advisors, awards for top 50 women, awards for the A-list, and this, that, and the other thing. And there was nothing out there for the nonprofit sector. And every time anybody tried to shine a light on the nonprofit sector, you'd say, hey, charity, you're doing great work. They're like, no, we can do this without, boom, and they push the light over to somebody else and talk about their sponsors and people are helping them and everything else. And we're like, this isn't right. There needs to be a night where it could just be all about the nonprofit sector and people could realize that all this magic is happening and really focus everything on the nonprofit sector. And the concept came from kind of a couple different places. I mean, you have the Academy Awards. I always kind of felt that the excitement of the Academy Awards where, you didn't know every other award you see, you already know who won. You already know who's going to be there. You already know,
where's the suspense, right? You need the suspense.
And the thing about the Academy Awards or any of these other, big award programs on TV is that there is that wow moment. There is that reality and honesty. And I think that's one of the things when you think about the nonprofit sector, there is that incredible honesty, incredible passion and everything that happens in the sector. And we wanted to kind of make a night that kind of let that honesty, that passion, that storytelling and everything else that is important to the sector kind of shine through. And it really, is something that really represents the incredible organizations and the journeys and everything. We wanted something that kind of mirrored that. And that's kind of what we shot for. And that's where, this whole thing came from is we didn't want this to be like a 2-dimensional sort of thing. We wanted there to be multi-dimensions. We wanted there to be video, live reactions, small presentations, everybody getting excited, people getting together. How often do you walk into a room for a fundraising event for a nonprofit organization, you got one nonprofit organization there and you've got their donors. How often do you get 40, 50 executives of nonprofits and their boards and stuff in a room to talk and to really, have conversation? How often do you have a situation where you get to learn about 20 new nonprofits in one night where maybe you didn't know about them. And now you get to see their story. You get to feel about what they're doing. And now you start thinking, hey, wait, they would be a good fit for this. These two organizations would go together really well. Or, hey, that's going to fill a need that I have within my organization. Or, hey, they're doing toys and someone offered me a truckload of toys last week that I can't use. So all of a sudden, different thought patterns start to happen, and the magic starts to percolate down low and kind of explodes in a night. And that's kind of what we were looking for.
Yeah, and you certainly hit it because it's real. And you can feel it in the room. It's one of those unique situations. I mean, I remember really the first time I think I was ever at the Imagine Awards, Ed Probst and I went, and we were I don't even know if you knew who we were at the time. We were sitting way in the back, and now because
You clearly did if you were sitting way in the back.
well, we didn't. But the thing about it, yeah, but now we get to sit way in the front because we're a platinum sponsor for a number of years now, so now we get a table at the front. But I will say, it's very touching to be in the room. Ken, people cry. People are crying watching these videos because everybody gets a professionally done video. Oh, excuse me.
There's a lot of, as you said, it's real. There's a lot of honesty in the room. There's a lot of true expression in the room. And again, that's what the nonprofit sector is all about. That's why they're my peeps.
No doubt.
It's
just real. It's just authentic. It's people changing lives. And it's funny. It's actually the first time I ever met our friend, Renee Downey Flagler from Girls Inc. of Long Island, because her and her gang were right next to me and they had just won. I was like, I don't know you guys. Can I hug you? Can I take a picture with you? I kind of understand what you do. I mean, what's better than when it's right in the name? Girls Inc., right? Girls Inc. of Long Island, or I don't know, the nonprofit sector connector. But when it's, but what if it's just like when it's right there, the words are there for you to understand. And, I remember, and actually Renee's organization has become a client of our firm over the years, and on, and we do some cool stuff together. In fact, here on talkradio.nyc, where we do this show, they have been the nonprofit that we've been giving back to for the end of 21 and this full year 2022. So I had forgotten even to say that, but these are the relationships that come out of that room, and I'm just one person in that room. How many of these? And it goes, can I say, like I talk about the ripple effect. The ripples are endless, man. You don't know where they're going to go. They leave, relationships that people never knew each other are in that room, and now they know each other, and great things happen.
We've partnered with and I've mentioned this before, but we've partnered with the book fairies through that event. I didn't know who the book fairies were before that, and now every billable hour we put a book in the hands of a child through the book fairies. Yeah. And that came through the Imagine Awards, and we've seen partnerships and collaborations coming out of the Imagine Awards. We've seen organizations come together who had never met before. We've seen funding come out of the Imagine Awards, organizations who got to meet United Way, and now we're United Way funded organizations. We've seen organizations who have used the Imagine Awards video to go after a grant and procure grants that they never would have had access to because they didn't have a video. So, there's a lot of stuff. And as you said, the ripple effect that comes from this, is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ideas I have right now. When we come back from another break, I want to talk about like what the experience is like for an applicant through that whole process. So, and I will just say this, go to imagineawardsli.com. That's for the Long Island Imagine Awards. The applications for the Long Island Imagine Awards are right now available. And I'm trying to get to the top of that page. 17 days to go to get those applications in. That application period ends November 28th. imagineawardsli.com. And I'm sure if you're watching on Facebook, Mick Collins, my buddy, probably already put that out there, but check that out. I have stories I want to tell, anecdotal stuff when we come back about, just the experience being even in New York City last month and seeing somebody came up on stage, was so impressed and was like, we sold a sponsorship that we've never sold. And I say we as part of the committee, right? I mean, let's keep it till we come back. But that was like in the room, somebody experienced something and said, I'm going to now be a diamond sponsor. I said when we come back, and I'm still telling the story anyway. Quick break, Ken. We'll be right back. My buddy Ken and I in the attic, Philanthropy and Focus, right back.
Are you passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, on talkradio.nyc. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a small business trying to navigate the COVID-19 related employment laws? Hello, I'm Eric Sauber, employment law business law attorney and host of the new radio show, Employment Law Today. On my show, we'll have guests to discuss the common employment law challenges business owners are facing during these trying times. Tune in on Tuesday evenings from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host the program Philanthropy and Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Top of the house, baby. That's right. Just below the roof. In the attic. I'm in the attic. I'm trying to think this up. He is my friend. He likes nonprofits. His name is Ken.
I don't think so. We'll work on it.
To be continued. Listen, you got plenty of creative people on your team. And I was talking to one of them last night, and she told me how creative you are. And I did not know. I mean, I just wasn't aware. I heard you're a heck of a singer. Heard you.
No, I'm not a heck of a singer. I've written songs, but
Okay, you've written country songs, but one heck of a dancer I did hear. Is that accurate?
I do dance, yes.
You do. And I've heard if you're at, and I've never seen this because I've never been like at a wedding or anything like that with you. But what I was told was, I didn't know I would say all this today, but what I was told was, like, if you're at a party or a wedding, you're dancing like the whole time. Is that true?
That's true.
It is. I had no idea. Who would know? I thought it was all about debits and credits for you, Serrini.
It is. I mean, all accountants are dancing fools, aren't they?
It's in fools. Yeah, exactly. So I want to go. I shared the website just now. I just wrote like 5 more things I want to say while I was looking at the website for the New York City Imagine Awards. I mean, I never meet Avenues for Justice and Angel Rodriguez if it isn't the Imagine Awards last year in New York City, right? I never meet my new friend Bobby Brown, who I was talking to yesterday, who's the newest executive director of Young New Yorkers. And it's all because of these relationships. I never meet Lisa Lewis, who Kelly Ann Serrini wanted to make sure I met, from Omnium Circus, and Lisa's coming on Philanthropy and Focus. So
incredible organizations.
Right?
These are all organizations that are out there every day changing lives. And again, they're not household names, and that's the thing. I mean, there's a limited amount of money that goes around, and we have to try to make these more household names. We need to show the great stuff that they're doing so that people, and this goes back to what you said just before the break, so that people open up their wallets and try to make a difference. And yes, when we were at the event last month, Webster Bank was so moved by, the event and the incredible stuff and the stories that were being told, that they jumped on stage and said, hey, we're going to take a diamond sponsorship here. And we're going to support this organization in a much bigger way. And we're going to ensure that every single nonprofit who makes it to the finals gets $1,000 prize, so that at least they walk away with something.
That, and that's the thing. And I remember saying this, and you may remember this, you may not, but we did an event actually in our office building out in Melville in the basement. And it was a panel discussion. Our friend Christine Deska was moderating a panel. If I'm not mistaken, it was yourself and Charles Ebdos, and I can't remember who else was on that panel. Charles, shout out to Charlie. I saw him yesterday. Rise Life Spirit and Rise in Spirit, Rise Life Services, Spirit of Huntington, my crew. And on that panel, one of the questions I said, yeah, but Ken, and you were talking about like what I would call strategic relationships, strategic alliances between nonprofits and for-profits. And at the time I not that I know a lot now, but I knew a lot less then. And I said, you were talking about like partnerships and how nonprofits need to really see it as a partnership when they're approaching sponsors or donors. And I said, yeah, but Ken, it's not supposed to be quid pro quo, right?
No, that's wrong. It is supposed,
schooled me.
well, it's not
Yeah.
supposed, it can be, and it
But
should
no,
be.
you schooled me on it. And now I think it is supposed to be quid pro quo. So talk to me about that.
From that perspective, I mean, when you think about nonprofits, I mean, you know, and the easiest way to explain it is to kind of give an example. I get asked all the time to sponsor golf outings. I apologize, but I hate the game of golf.
Yep.
I'm not a golfer. I never will be a golfer. I will never show up at a golf tournament, whatever. So asking me to sponsor a golf outing, look, if I got to do it, I'll do it, and I'll take a whole sponsor $150, $300, whatever the cheapest thing I can do is, because it's not me. It's not part of who I am. It's not resonating with me. I'm not connected to it or anything. But if you come to me and you talk to me about, hey, I want to have a relationship with you throughout the course of the year. I want to create a platform where I can really look to understand what it is that drives you, that makes you interested in our organization. And let me center something around that. Okay. And then let me also promote you for promoting us, and give you a platform to kind of cross-pollinate and cross-promote each other. All of a sudden, the relationship is a whole lot different. All of a sudden, there is a somewhat of a two-way street. All of a sudden, I'm doing good, but it's benefiting me also. Yeah. You know, and business owners, I mean, part of what they're looking to do is there's a big emphasis, and you talk to, you know, some of the major corporations out there, they all talk about the need for there to be a higher level of social responsibility. You know, their customers are demanding it, their staff are demanding it. You know, that customer, I mean, that social responsibility piece needs to be part of corporate culture today. But if I'm going to be, and I don't mean this in a kind of a selfish sort of way, but if I'm going to be part of this social responsibility component and kind of help a nonprofit, most business owners are going to be looking at it and saying, well, that's great, I'll do it. But if I can get some benefit from it, whether it be volunteering, where my staff can go and do team building through volunteer efforts like they do with Habitat for Humanity, or whether it be, you know, through the ability for me to put that within my marketing materials and say that, you know, I support this organization on a very more personal level. Whether it be that the organization is sending me messaging and videos from some of the ways my money is being utilized within the organization, so I can get a deeper connection to the organization and maybe put that within my social media outflow. Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it, but you have to think differently now as a nonprofit organization.
Yeah, I think, you know, if I get into it 1 sec, I think, you know, in terms of, you know, you know, the transactional thing is like, hey, can you give us 2,500 so we can put your name on this sign at our golf outing and you sponsor Beat the Pro? Or can we, over the next 3 years, have a relationship? So it's
that relationship is going to be much bigger than $2,500.
Of course it is, right? Of course it is. But this is a mindset situation, and not to beat up on the sector, but we're all trying to learn. It's about educating and getting better, right? It's about, like you said, we don't know what we don't know. But that strategy, and look, bar none, Serrini Associates is putting out incredible amounts of content and incredibly educational content. And some of and these are some of the themes, though, that you and I have talked about, or I've heard you say, or I've asked you, and it's just about these folks that have to see things differently. We have to evolve, you know, with the way that might have been okay. And it probably was okay because it worked. People did that back in the past. But over the years now, and how long has it been in the relationship since founder Amy Zaslansky of the Book Fairies came to you, and now it's been a couple of years?
We started our relationship in January of 2020. So I got to think this for a second, January of 2019, we started. It was January 2019 because we're in our 19 would have been the first year, 2021. No, I'm sorry, I take that back. It was January 2020. This is our third year in the relationship. And over that 3 years, it's been about 177,000 books that we put in the hands of children.
Okay, pause, time out, flag on the play. What is the ripple effect? What is the impact? I saw Eileen just said hello on Facebook, Eileen Minogue and Amy and team down there at Book Fairies. God, Ken, what is the impact of 177,000? You don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. It's incredible, the impact.
But again, the thing is, if they would have come to me and said, I want you to sponsor my golf outing,
Right.
okay, they would have gotten $200,
One-time
$300
shot,
a year, maybe, if they came to me every year.
Yeah.
And what did they get? They got $177,000 books in the hands of children. They got an ally within the firm. They got, we helped them to put together their largest fundraising event. So we brainstormed and helped them create their largest fundraising event, which generated last year, I think, $100,000. So again, by tapping into and partnering effectively, you're going to get a hell of a lot more than just getting a sponsorship.
Yeah, I'm writing this down because guys, take this stuff away when he says that. Partnering effectively, partnering, right? Not, hey, I'm the nonprofit, you're the for-profit, you should give us this so we can put your logo on there and we can help people. No, how about, hey, I'm a business person, I'm a leader of a nonprofit, you're a business person, a leader of a for-profit. What do you need, Mr. Business Owner? How does this work for you? Because Ken, I know for a fact, and I'm going to ask you, but culturally, the conversations that happen around your office, is every associate in your office aware of the book fairies?
Most of them are. We push information out. We have an internal newsletter, and that's a good point. We have to probably push it out again because we've brought on a bunch of employees over the last 6 months. But yes, we've had book fairies come to our office events. We've had book fairies talk to our office during staff meetings and kind of explain what we do and the partnership we have and what they do. It's on all of our proposals that go out the door. So and it's, if you look at, you know, when I send out emails and stuff, it's right there on the bottom. It says, you know, ask me about our partnership. You know, and it is a very important part of who we are as a firm. It's kind of baked right into our DNA.
It's baked right into the DNA, gang. He talked about education is important to his firm. Education is a part of one of the tenets of the Imagine Awards, and he's partnered up with an organization that is helping educate people. Listen, I've had Eileen on the show. I've had Amy on the show over the years, and just to say this, the lack of literacy changes the trajectory of someone's life incredibly in a negative way. You know, it's just straight up. Illiteracy is a huge problem. It leads to people obviously not getting certain jobs. People end up incarcerated. And I don't have the statistics here for you today, but I'm sure if you go back to one of my other episodes, we talked about them specifically. But it's the impact that Amy Zeslansky was trying to just get a handful of books for a book drive for her local district in her neighborhood, and asked the friends and stuff. And then before she knew it, had a garage full of books. And now I guess it's 10 years or something already. The organization has given over 3 million books, if I'm not mistaken, Ken. Over 3 million books. Eileen, text me if I'm wrong, and I'll correct myself. But I know, like, that's incredible. Plus, they had a Guinness Book of World Records book, haha, wink, wink, book of world records. But they had that of I see Eileen liking and sharing what we're doing here. Thanks, Eileen. That's impact, Ken. Now people and they bring books to folks who are incarcerated. I've been out there, and I had my older daughter and I did a day of service out there one Saturday, several times, but one particular Saturday, my daughter and I are out there, and it's incredible. I don't know if you've ever been there when they do these. The schools come in. These teachers come in with like suitcases, literally suitcases, and you're able to take whatever you can take, and they're sorted by age groups, by interest levels, all different things. And I remember my daughter would be like, oh, you like the oh God, what's the Dog Boy books or Dog Man or whatever you like those for your students? I mean, Ken, here on Long Island, like where I live, they have a library in these classrooms. There are schools and districts here on Long Island that don't have a library, right, at all. So there, and it's
not even Long Island. It's in New York. It's in New York City. It's everywhere.
Tragic. Yeah, I mean, there was a school that they were building. If I'm not mistaken, it was like Southeast Queens. They were building this new school, and each year they were adding a new grade into the school. So each year they had to build a new library, you know, and that was. I get these little hairs again, man. I got the fever for the flavor. I mean, this is like what it is. Like, this is it. Eileen and Amy, we love you. Ken, I love you for doing that partnership because you're now part of the change, you and the firm. And you know what? I want to put this aside because we keep hearing that younger people, the millennial generation, which the millennials are in their 40s now getting divorced. So millennials are not, they're not just playing Game Boy on the couch, right? But the millennials, but no, as a society of human beings, like this is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be making other people's lives better. And you now have ingrained that into the DNA of your firm. So we are going to go to another break, but I could pause it. So tell me what you were going to say. You look like you had a comment.
No, I was just actually going to say is you were talking about, the building the library. There was one school in Harlem that they worked with where that school in Harlem had a detention room and the detention room was full all the time. And book fairs went and got them to switch the detention room into a library. And now there are less kids in trouble. There are less kids that need the detention services, and they're using the books in the library. And that's part of what the issue was, that they didn't have any place to go. They didn't have anything to do, so they got themselves in trouble. And now they're in a situation where it's more productive time than what it was.
I mean, just think of what we're talking about, everybody. How many lives are impacted? How many families are impacted by that? It's so special, man. Ken, we could have chose hedge funds, you and I, but I think we made the right decision.
I could never have chose hedge funds. Sorry.
I know. It was an option, but it was there.
This was always the option.
100%. No doubt about it. All right. When we come back, we really need to do a few things. We need to talk about, the process, because I'm getting a text message from my friend Kelly who says the deadline is Monday, November 28th at midnight. The deadline for Long Island Imagine Awards is November 28th at midnight. Go to imagineawardsli.com. So I want to talk about, we come back, what do we need? Meaning committee members, obviously sponsors for the organization, and what is the look and feel of the application phase? So people understand that. I know we've done like webinars to educate potential applicants, but can we talk about that when we come back? How's that sound?
Great.
Right back.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy and Phocus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will be frank about health to advocate for all of us.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant. And on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Nonprofits need connections to move in good directions. So cut through all the static. Join Tommy in his attic.
Join Tommy. You go up 2 flights of stairs from the kitchen to the attic. All right. So listen, Ken, want to know a secret? Do you want to know a secret? Do you?
Sure. Why not?
Yeah. You know what I wanted to be when I grow up, or what I used to say I wanted to be when I grow up, and what I probably still will be when I grow up?
A nonprofit connector?
Yes. Well as that, I wanted to be a game show host. So this is the lightning round. Welcome to the lightning round. I mean, there was a guy called Guy Smiley, if you remember Guy Smiley.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like the man on the street, like in Sesame Street. I wanted to be Guy Smiley. That was kind of it. And then there was a guy called Mr. Game Show, which was like this statue guy would like do these things. And I was like, that's what I'm going to be when I grow up. It's a cross between those guys. And Mark Summers from Double Dare. So this is the lightning round.
Let's hit the lightning round. Go for it.
Let's do it. Hit me with it, man. What does this look like? So I'm a nonprofit executive leader. I'm a board chair. I'm somebody who just gets services from a nonprofit, and I want them to apply. What does that look like? What does that process look like when they apply? How long should it take them? And then what happens when they make it through the process? Where do they go?
So the application is a fairly easy application. It's a series, and there are 6 different categories that people can. We have a brand new category this year, DEIA, but we have leadership. We have Rising Star, which is basically social impact for organizations on Long Island that have under $2 million worth of revenue. We have social impact, which is the larger organizations. We have innovation, and we have arts and culture. So those are the 6 categories. Each category has its own separate application. You can apply for in more than one category. The only categories that you cannot apply for together is you can't be both social impact and Rising Star, because they're basically the same award. One is for under 2 million, one is for over $2 million. But otherwise, you can apply for multiple categories. And we've had people make it into the semifinals and finals in multiple categories. So that's something that, if you fit in multiple categories, go for it. The application is not an extensive application. It shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes to an hour to complete. Really, what we've seen from the committee and from the judges that people want to see, they want to see impact. They want to know what impact you're having. If you can kind of talk about impact more from just an anecdotal perspective and talk about impact from a real world impact perspective, that's going to go a long way. So get the message out about impact. Get the message out about leverage. How are you able to leverage your results? Give some real life examples, give some stories and stuff that if you can touch a person, that's going to go a long way. So, get those stories in. And, the application, it's not a difficult application to fill out. Last year on Long Island, we had about 160 applications in. With the extra category this year, we're expecting that application process to get closer to 200 applications in. But again, think about it. You've got 200 applications in, 24 people will make the semifinals. Every one of those 24 people that make you got 24 people make the semifinal. Let's try that again. We got 42 people making the semifinals because there's 7 in each category that make the semifinals. Once those organizations make the semifinals, then someone from the committee goes out and interviews them, and they become the advocate for the organization.
Let me pause you there, because that's my favorite part of the committee. Like, wait a minute, and I'm always like the favorite part of committee service, because wait, hold on. I love these organizations. Now I get to go spend an hour with them and learn really more about it. Like, maybe that's not fulfilling to everybody, but it's certainly fulfilling to those of us who love this stuff. I remember I was telling a story last night. I went out to an organization. I was telling Brendan Levy this story last night, and I said maybe Ken would remember. And there was an organization that had done like a farm to table in an old church with like a beautiful chapel out in Long Island. And it was the first time I ever did. It was the first time I served on the committee, and I got to go out there and I got to meet the nuns, and it was just so cool and so special. And and talk about advocating. I get like, you've seen me in these meetings, I get like, these are like my people now. Like, I'm like, and again, as appropriate, but little bit forceful, because I want, because you're vying for your people,
Yeah, I mean, that process in the room, and it's not necessarily science per se.
Yeah.
What we do is we go through, we read all of the applications in each category. The committee consists of about 15 people, and the committee goes through and they review these applications. They mark off which ones they think meet the criteria of the category the best. And then it becomes a big discussion, and everybody's talking about and advocating for the different agencies. And we come to some sort of general consensus in terms of, it's not unanimous, it's a general consensus. We pick who we believe the 7 best in each category are going to be. Again, those go on to the judges panel. The judges get the write-ups that we do as committee members, as I mentioned. We go out and interview, and they also get the application. And then the judges, there's a secret panel of 7 judges who review the 42 this year applications. They're going to break it down to the final 24 finalists. Each of the 24 finalists will get a video. Each of the 24 finalists will get $1,000, thanks to our Long Island-based diamond sponsor, Sterling Risk. And then, with respect to that, then you get the judges pick the winners of the category. So each category will have a winner, and the winner gets $5,000, and they get bragging rights. Because there is a certain level of bragging rights that seem to go with the Imagine Awards these days. There's a certain level of prestige that goes. And then we also have, for those organizations that have shown that they are really, really there every year, they get it, they're leaders, true leaders in the sector, we've actually created a Hall of Fame, Long Island Imagine Awards Hall of Fame. And we have 2 members so far of the Long Island Imagine Awards Hall of Fame. We have Island Harvest and CP of Nassau. And we invite them back every year to be there as our guests. And even those organizations that, that don't win, they get to come to the event, they get to be at the event. We offer free tickets to, some of our semifinalists and some of the applicants. It's a great room to be in. It's a room you need to be in. You learn so much. You meet so many great people who care about the sector. Again, how often do you get to be in a room where everybody cares about nonprofits, where everybody cares about people? Yeah. It doesn't happen all that often.
No, it's a pretty special room. You can't beat it. And I will say, I know of anecdotal stuff that happened just this year alone, that some folks were in the room who maybe had never been in the room before, or some folks that had never been in the room, but their company had been sponsoring. I can think of certainly the story we just said about Webster, but I know there's some others that are like, wait a minute, we're not high enough on the totem pole. We need to be deeper. And again, not to put names out there, but I think there was somebody else specifically that had never been to the event and was finally there and was kind of changed and said, okay, I get it now, Ken. How do I do this? Right.
Yeah, he was sitting at my table, and he basically, right in front row, sitting at the table, and he basically said, all right, you got me.
You got to be there. He had to experience it though, right? It's not like he didn't know you're doing this all these years, but
it really, again, and it's not because it's an event that we're a big part of, but it's very different from a lot of the other events that are out there. There's a different level of energy that's in the room, and it's infectious, the energy that's in the room. And it comes from all of the nonprofits who are doing such great things, and you can't help but smile, and you can't help but cry, and you can't help but dig into your wallet and or text and donate and try to make a difference, because again, you're dealing with so many special organizations that are doing so many special things and are helping so many people in need. And these are people who could be your neighbors, or could be your family members, or could be anyone. Yep. And they don't discriminate, and they don't care, and they're there selflessly doing something. And how could you not want to be in that room?
100%. So, all right. So let's say we're out of time, but I do want to be in the room. I do want to be on the committee. I do want to be a sponsor. Who do I call? How do I do that?
As you've been saying all along, you can reach out through Imagine Awards li.com. .org. Well, it's .com. It should be .org, but okay. It's .com. Yeah. We are a nonprofit.
Yeah, so, shout it out. We didn't do that before, because this show, I only bring on leaders of nonprofits, and you are a nonprofit. So
yeah. The Imagine Awards is a nonprofit organization. It was, again, established for this purpose. But, reach out to us. You can reach out to Kellyanne over at Serrini Associates. It's K.A. Serrini at SerriniAssociates.com. You can reach out to her. She's more than happy to put you in touch, get you an application. Make sure that if you want to be a judge, we're looking for judges too. You can put in an application to be a judge. We're looking for committee members. We're looking for sponsors. We're looking for people to just show up. We're looking for, anybody who wants to make a difference in this world, or a difference on Long Island or New York City. Please just reach out to us. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear your story. We want to help you to kind of move through this thing. If you have an application, you're not sure what to do, you're not sure what some of the stuff on it means, just reach out to us. So again, we'll either get you a video, or we'll spend some time with you. Again, the goal here is to spotlight as many amazing organizations as we can.
And we got to leave it there. My friend Ken Serrini, managing director, partner of Serrini Associates, visionary founder of the Imagine Awards, and my buddy, and apparently a great dancer. Make it a great day, everybody. We'll see you later on.
Thanks a lot, Tommy. Appreciate it.